What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining us. My name is Todd Ronan. I'm joined with my co-host Daniel Laxtons, all the way from. How you doing, Daniel?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing?
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling excited. I want to talk about the Malaysian aircraft MH370, which has been missing for almost 10 years now. And everyone, when it went away, people thought, where did it go? What happened to it? Did it go in a black hole? Did it disappear? Did it we are some really dumb people out there that speculated as to what happened, but I did a remote viewing session on it, and I haven't really shared any of my data that I've ever presented in remote viewing. So I kind of wanted to give people an idea of what it is I do. What do you think about that?
Mm. I think it's amazing. To be honest, though, we have uh, had a coffee table in our living room that was a aircraft wing, and I would always tell people when they came in that that was from that flight, and they're like, "Really?" I'm like, "No."
Yeah, it's amazing what people are going to believe, and they're fed this idea that they always have to know the truth. So my session came about by I was following a group on Facebook and they posted hey, here's a remote viewing target reference number you can do. And I thought, okay, I'll do it. I didn't really think anything about it. And then the target happened to be, I won't say who ran it, but they said they got hundreds of submissions on it. So when you do a remote viewing project, you want to keep it to 6 people submitting a session. So if you want open casting for remote viewing, limit it to like 10 and throw out half of them. But they got hundreds of submissions, and she said mine was pretty good, on point. So I thought I'd tell people what happened. This is time stamped in a way that you'll know that I did it in 2014. I didn't know what it was. I was blind to the target. So I thought I'd go through a remote viewing session that I did 10 years ago and share it with folks.
Sounds awesome.
So yeah, remote viewing's done best when you're like, you don't know what the hell you're doing. You don't know what's going on. You don't know what the target is. And this one was done, I think, in 2014. I posted this to Dropbox. I'll just wait for a minute to load this up. Tell me if you can see my screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
This was done way back in March 14th, 2014. It's my dad's birthday, coincidentally enough. And so when you do a remote viewing session, you want to start with your target reference number. They gave me this number. That's all I had, this blind TRN. And then you do something called an ideogram, and you go through what's called the IAB movement, where A, you describe it, then you touch it, and then you decode it. So I'm decoding this ideogram here. It's like a doodle, but I mean, that's not going to give me the answer. So then you do it again, you describe it, you touch it, you decode it, and that's the process. So in stage 2, we label all our pages 2. This is my entire session. You'll see the whole thing. I'm not going to sell anything back, but I didn't even think about it. I just sent it to them and forgot about it. In stage 2, we're moving through and getting like ideas about interject and like ask me any questions that I have here. You've taken the course, you know the process. So this is like a controlled remote viewing format. It's what I was doing in 2014, but now you've taken my temporal awareness perception remote viewing course, Daniel, and you see this is a bit different than the modality I now teach.
yeah, but I can see the similarities from this to TAP, your course.
Yeah, so we're moving through, and when we get a deduction, or our left brain pops in with something, we write it over here on the right. This is our AOL, a pungent aroma I got. It's gristly, oily, smooth, broken, jagged. And I think the cue was what caused the well, we don't want to make any like accusations or deductions about what happened to the plane. So I think the cue was just MH370 cause of disappearance. And that was it. It was very clear. But you'll see I got overpowering smells of gasoline. And then over here, my AOL break was a charter plane crash. So
Mm.
sometimes your AOL, even though it's a deduction, will be right, but you have to put it down because the data is too high. So you have to like write it down and keep moving. So I dropped it over here.
Isn't it also because you're psychic too? So then you're going to have a little bit more accurate AOLs than the average person.
Sometimes they're on point, sometimes they're crap. I drop them in there to make sure that my mind's not going to overrun the session. And you want to keep your brain and your mind in check, give each one something to do. So we move through the smells, the taste, the sounds, and I got red alert, some kind of coax cable. Then we move into our dimensions until we find like a feeling in our heart. This is done late at night, like 11:19. I was doing a lot of late night remote viewing back then.
Wow.
So this is my stage 3 sketch. You can see it's labeled 3, and I turned the page for some reason. So this is like a different perspective page, but I felt like my unconscious mind said, "You need a bigger page. Turn it, rotate it." So I did.
Wow.
And then I got this so what's happening here is we do the sketch for 90 to 120 seconds, and then we label things: most important X, second most important A, third most important B. And if something is connected to something, we put A's around it. So I have like little pointillism here or dots here. And I mean, I didn't know what I was sketching. I wasn't trying to.
You know, it looks like you're sketching what looks to be like my coffee table. It's amazing.
Well, what happened is I can now look at this sketch and see I have the seat cushions here. I have the wing of the plane here, and there appears to be an explosion in one of the engines. And then that's as much as I can deduct from it. But I didn't want to make that deduction while I was doing the session because we don't want to contaminate yourself and make
Is B a wire? Is that
uh
the you're saying coaxial cable, but it could have been some sort of faulty wire or something, you
yeah,
know?
we don't deduct that much. We just record. And so I wrote like 1, 2, 3 things here and then 4 things, but these things felt like they were connected to this thing, but I didn't want to make any more deductions on it. So then I go into a better sketch of what X is. So I move and get more information about X. This matrix is just a control room viewing matrix. It means stage 2 dimensions, my feelings, their feelings, things you can't touch, like intangible things in AOL, and AOL the signal line. So I got tense mannerisms. I got an AOL of a rocket, an AOL of Somali pirates, which is, I don't know if that's weird, but
That's
it's
amazing.
set at an angle. Um, I got an AOL Decatur, Georgia, so that's not right, but I deducted it and put it down. A sudden momentum shift, which is interesting. I want to push back away from it. I'm fearful of it. It makes me feel like there's something opened the bandwidth up and made it move faster. So, um, when in CRV, when you feel like you want to sketch something, you can write jump 5A in brackets. That's a command for yourself to move to a new page and sketch something. So this is me sketching X in a way that now, looking back at it, we can see that it's a plane engine, but when I'm doing my remote viewing session, had no idea what it was. So, but now looking back, this is the trajectory of things coming out of the engine, pop, pop, exploding in fire. Um, so then we move into A. So we do a stage 4 of A: sensory perceptions, dimensions, my feeling, their feeling, things, I, AOL, AOLS. I got an AOL of seat cushions. Well, that was right, but I don't know that it's right. Looking back, we know that it's right. There's this fearful energy and frenzied energy, and people feel maudlin. And there's like this blaring sound around, sound from all angles, I said. And so I said, move to that sound and describe it. While it's loud, it's banging, it's whooshing, it's cracking. There's ambient blaring energy about it. And it reminded me of a foghorn. It's like inside. And I didn't know I was in a plane. I didn't know what I was remote viewing. I just wanted to get more information about where's that sound coming from? What is it like? What does it sound like? And that's my description of it. So I've never been in a plane crash, but if any of you guys want to chime in about, is there an alarm when you have like a cabin pressure failure? I don't know. Mechanical lights flickering, a timed release, and then I did another jump, another jump. It made me feel sad. And then where are my other sketches here? This is what I sketched of the other plane cushion, the other seats, but I didn't sketch any people. So that could mean two things. It could mean the people were dead when I sketched them, and therefore I wasn't getting the bodies, or it means that they were asphyxiating. But it shows that there was no chaos among the people, that they didn't try to escape, that they sat there and awaited their fate. Um, Then I don't know what this is here. We got some more stuff. And then I just want to get to the end. Oh, I was trying to describe the flag of where the person was from. I don't know if this is the right flag or not, but I was just trying to do something else fun. And then I looked at their unconscious condition, and so I ended it at 12:12, but I started it at 11:08. So the session took me about an hour, and I turned it in, and I said, "Yeah, I don't know if I did any good or not, but here you go." And it took me like 2 months to get any feedback on it. And finally, the girl said, posted her session and said, "Oh, here's the target that you guys did." And I was like, "Oh, I guess I did do that remote viewing target of MH370." And it showed to me that there was an explosion in an engine that resulted in cabin pressure loss, alarms going off, and everyone on the crew, including the cabin, asphyxiated. And it went down pretty much where it had, the arc that it was on. But the pilot tried to turn the plane in a different direction, and he lost consciousness too. And so I think it just ran out of fuel and crashed into the ocean.
Wow. Well, at least I got a coffee table out of it.
You didn't really get a coffee table out of it. That's not from the MH370 crash. But just a point of, what you can do with remote viewing when you're blind to a target. You're going to get a lot of data, a lot of information about it. And now I even teach how to bilocate to that target so you can get more information, sensory perceptions about it in my temporal awareness perception remote viewing class. But it's fun. It's 6 weeks. It goes over all those stages that I covered there, plus a few new modifications, a few new adaptations. And I now you know what happened to the MH370 crash. It was not pilot error. It was an engine explosion error, and everyone on the plane asphyxiated.
Oh man, yeah. I'm sorry about that, but it's cool that you can remote view things and that you can be a part of a team or, you know, either way. But really get going, they
I've
really need to
talked
take your
about this
class.
once before, but there's been some discrepancy about the TW800 airplane disaster, and I'll touch on that too. There were a number of different remote viewers that got different information, and I'll explain why. So Ed Dames there was a exploded fuel pump. He teaches technical remote viewing from a website, learnremoteviewing.com, and you can figure out his method. But he was the military instructor. Well, not the instructor, but he worked in the military for a while and oversaw some of the guys that did actual remote viewing. He claimed that the reason for TW800, which is I don't know when this happened, like a while back, you can look it up. And it was a plane that was going to France, I believe. Then it exploded over the Hudson Bay, and everyone on board died. And it was tragic because there was like a high school group that was going there. So there was sadness because there was a lot of kids. So there was Ed Dames said that's what happened. Courtney Brown, the director of the Farsight Institute, remote viewed it and said that it was hijacked by terrorists, and that he saw when he was remote viewing a team of people in camo pants and fatigues on the plane trying to interject and interact with the people on the plane. And then there was another guy, David Morehouse, who teaches another remote viewing method, and he said that it was shot down accidentally by some type of missile off the coast of New York City by the Navy, I believe. They were using some type of new microwave device
A
as
friendly
a
fire of
test.
some sort.
Yeah, I don't remember the particular details about it, just the vagaries of it, but they're all right and they're all wrong. And the reason I say that is because Ed Dames, when he remote viewed it, he didn't remote view the cause of the crash. He remote viewed what will be reported as the cause of the crash. And that's another workaround remote viewers can do, because the truth is not always presented to you, the viewing public. And so remote viewers may have a higher degree of understanding what the truth is and what actually happened on board an aircraft versus what is reported to have happened to the general viewing public. So Ed Dames was right because he reported that's what they would find. That's what they reported they would find. Courtney Brown reported that he saw people in military fatigues on the plane. Well, that was actually one of Ed Dame's remote viewers on the plane using an out of body experience to project himself on the plane and help transgress the people that were on board into death because he knew that they were going to die. So he was using an out of body experience to project himself there. And Courtney couldn't distinguish between a real person and an out of body experience person. And then the third person, David Morehouse, he was right. That's what actually happened. And that's why they're not reporting it, because it was a big military faux pas. And that's what you got. If you'd been reporting the truth, that's what would have come out. But people were responsible for that, and they didn't want to take responsibility for it. So instead of admitting the mistake, the FAA came in, NTSB, and said, hey, we have this faulty onboard fuel compression, whatever the hell they said. And that's what they said the answer was, but they were full of marbles.
Stinky ones.
Yeah.
Well, that is really cool. That's really amazing how three different remote viewers can come up with different information, yet all the information is true, and yet all the information is also not true, but it is. It's cool.
Yeah, it goes to your maxim, doesn't it?
That's the well, it's
everything you
the
believe is true and everything you believe is false. There you go.
law of duality.
Right.
Nature of reality is duality. So everything is false and true. I say that if we're trying to create reality, then what you want to do is assign the meaning that you want to the energy that is coming through. But if you're, what's cool is that you guys look at the past, but you can also look at the future. Oh,
Look at the future with
the
varying degrees of
forecast.
success. Yeah, particular events, and see what really happened behind the scenes. Because what you see on television is not what really happens. And so you get, a in-person view as to what's really happening, as opposed to your 4-box view that everybody's witnessing right now.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Hey, thanks, Daniel. It's good seeing you again. If anybody likes this, please share and subscribe and leave a comment asking me what you'd like me to remote view or my team to remote view. I've got a lot of project coming up. If you're interested in that kind of stuff, this is really the place for it. I look forward to seeing you guys again next time. And if you want to find Daniel, he's over on TikTok at Daniel Laxton's and Ultimate Reality Surfing.
Yeah, if you just type Ultimate Reality Surfing, you'll find me. Thanks for having me on the show, Ronan.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.